Hello and welcome back one and all to another episode of The Dark Library where we're looking at Kamen Rider Geats. This is Kamen Rider Geats, Episode 6, Chance Meeting 5, Reversal Boost. And I think we're close to the end of these chance meeting episodes, but we will be getting on to that at the end of this episode to talk the summary. So, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Our episode actually starts off where last week's ended, for obvious reasons, with Mary, whose name is Morio. That's kind of funny considering the Mario movie trailer just came out. Anyway, Morio has used his ticket to get the pears, and even mentions that his fingers are really sensitive and can read the cards, so he can pull out what he wants. In this case, he wants Buffa. This ends up with Kawa ending up with Punk Jack as a partner, as now Mary and Buffa are teamed up. We also get a bit more of Buffa's backstory, as Buffa remembers his friend who passed on in a previous game, and we'll talk about that towards the end of it. But anyway, we learn a lot about Morio, because he's about to be taken out, obviously. Like, this isn't even a secret. He's about to be taken out because obviously we're learning a lot about the guy. Anyway, as we find out in the episode, in his daily life, he was originally essentially a dealer at a casino, but was found for cheating and fled the country, whatever country that was. I'm assuming America. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, casinos are illegal in Japan. So, gambling itself is technically illegal in Japan, although pachinko parlors kind of get a legal loophole through it. So he obviously wasn't a casino dealer in Japan. So yeah, he was in another country and fled to Japan to escape his supposed debts for cheating. He shows a lot more of his jerk hole side in this episode, for obvious reasons. Anyway, so Nokia was trying to get some, basically trying to figure out how to work with Punk Jack, as they know the secret for taking out the new Yamato type. I forget what they're called, the Trump Yamato, is to, take them out, take the pairs out at once. Unfortunately, Punk Jack seems to just have his own beat, and KO is just kind of forced to go with it. In order to help him out, Ace, who still has the boost buckle for some reason, despite it being normally a one-use item that juts off the user as soon as it's used, he still has it. So, I guess that's weird. Anyway, Ace gives it back to Kawa so that he can use it as kind of a final trump card in order to take out the Trump Yamato. Hilarious. But dun dun dun, Mary snatches it out of Kawa's bag or something and gives it to Buffa. Like, I don't know, like, last time I saw it, Kawa was holding it, and then all of a sudden, Mary, who was spying on them, has it. So I'm assuming Kawa just left it in a bag or something, and Morio just snatched it out of that. Like, I don't even know if he had a bag on him. Anyway, obviously speaking, this gets everyone kind of pissed because, he stole the buckle, and so this leads to Buffa basically being a tiebreaker and holding a capture the flag contest with the boost buckle to see who gets to have it. So Kawa and Morio do a run for it. It's also funny because Ace gives Kawa his version of a pep talk, where he's like, you have to fight for your desires if you want to change the world, but I'm going to win anyway. It's like, this guy has no chill on his arrogance. I fucking love it. Anyway, Kawa actually gets to the buckle first, but Morio snatches it out of his hand, steps on this man's chest, and pulls it from his hand. This man, oh god, this man is earning all of the hate points in a single episode. I didn't think that is a fast turnaround from being neutral to just being the most hated character in an episode. Oh Jesus. But he literally stomps on his chest to snatch it out of his hand with everyone watching him. It is legitimately hilarious, in my personal opinion. Obviously, again, we get a lot of Buffa's backstory here, as well as we find out what his wish is. His wish is the power to crush all Kamen Riders. So insert decay joke here. So Buffa wants the power to eliminate all Kamen Riders, and he especially hates Ace because basically, as we learn from his backstory, he was somehow in the fight zone for one of the Yamato attacks and saw his friend fighting in the DGP. Ace was also in the DGP at that time, and while two other Kamen Riders took out his friend, one with the distinct elephant helmet, another one that okay, so people are saying it looks like a gazelle and might just be Emperor's helmet, Emperor from Ryuki, although no one is exactly sure. I mean, I couldn't really tell, but from the Photoshop, and by Photoshop I mean they did the whole turn up the lights thing. It looks like horn, so it might be a gazelle helmet. Either way, also it's kind of ironic because people have also done a zoom in because the actor did those one of those "hey, I made it on the set" thing photos when he's in costume, and we saw a lion core ID, a blue lion core ID on his belt. It's also kind of funny because people are now making Leomon jokes. If you know Digimon, you know that is absolutely hilarious. Anyway, Buffa saw his friend die as a civilian, saw Ace. He knows Ace didn't kill his friend, but also hates Ace for his arrogance, as well as the fact that he didn't save his friend, as Ace was busy fighting Yamato at the time. So, his friend is dead, and he wants the power to kill all Kamen Riders and prevent the DGP from ongoing in order to prevent more stuff like his friend. Although that won't stop the Yamato. Anyway, the next round finally begins, and it's actually pretty quick because a lot of this is more spent on the drama aspect of this episode. Everyone's fighting, and Kayla's still trying to get used to Punk Jack as a partner, only for Buffa to come in with the boost buckle in a really cool scene. And it's revealed by Sumori that right before the match started, Buffa actually went back to draw the lot again for a partner and pulled the Tycoon card, and that such restored his original partnership. This leaves Mary back with Punk Jack as Kayla and Buffa take out the enemy in a really cool 30-second freeze frame to show that they both took out the heart trump Yamato. This leaves the spade, I believe that's the spade, Yamato, and they're all taken out by Ace and Neon in a rather cool tag team in which Ace uses, Magnum on his legs and does a fucking Kamehameha foot blast, as well as Neon doing an overhead claw swipe. Again, this leaves no Yamato left, and so Mary and Punk Jack got no points. So obviously with no points, Mary is at the bottom, and he's eliminated. Punk Jack is a DGP staff member, so he still gets to stick around, although he's not competing anymore. So that leaves just our heroes, and we finally find out what retiring means. It effectively means that they will lose all their memories of the DGP and will be returned to normal life. Supposedly. We don't know if this is true or not because we can't really trust the DGP. Anyway, so Mary's out, and this leaves Gates, Tycoon, Nago, and Buffa as our remaining 4 riders in this contest. On an interesting note, Mary also does swear revenge on the group before he disappears, but he also loses his memories, and according to set stuff, Mary's actor is apparently not coming back, although no one's heard any word about Dapon's actor, so Dapon could come back, although this is Kamen Rider, and they can easily just renew a contract to get the guy more money to come back if they want to use his character again. So, nothing is set in stone. Anyway, they go back to the masked guy who... Do we know his name? I don't know if we know his name. Does he have a name? Anyway, we go back to him, and he says that a new boss Yamato, or final boss Yamato, has been spotted, similar to the Shiro Yamato that started off the conflict, and he'll be the villain for next week, as he asks which of the Kamen Riders will step up to, be the savior of the world / new god desired, ending our episode. And with that, we might be at the end of this chance meeting set of episodes. So, thoughts? I'm gonna be honest, as a 2-parter, I like this one for a look at Buffa's backstory, as well as further look into Keiwa as a character, because again, Keiwa is our focus point character, so looking at him is pretty cool. Earlier in the episode, he's given the option to use his points to get another draw card to draw for a partner, but he decides not to because he doesn't want to inconvenience anyone. He uses the example of separating Ace and Neon, which he doesn't want to do because he actually thinks they work well together, and he doesn't want to actually, hurt anyone because he says, well, their happiness is my happiness, even though, he's going to lose his rights as a Kamen Rider from this. Although, it's funny because this is this is the better solution, just losing your memories and not, being completely murdered, because we don't know, but obviously Buffa's friend didn't come back. He was basically murdered by 2 Kamen Riders, and we know from Cable checking in on it that Ginpin, his self, he didn't come back. So, like I stated, there are 2 ways to get kicked out of DGP. One is to lose, in which case, you end up just losing your memories, going back to where you started. And one is to die and just basically get murdered by the Yamato or other riders, which I thought that wouldn't be a thing, but apparently just the point deduction isn't enough in some cases. So, yeah, in those cases, you just fucking die, and yeah, you're dead, so you don't come back that way. That also is what happened to Shiroi, because we don't see him again. So, obviously there's that big risk with the DGP. So that's interesting. As well as the fact that Buffa literally begins to hate Mary because Mary's the exact kind of person he hates in terms of being a Kamen Rider, because those were the type of people who hurt his friend, and so obviously he hates Mary. So it's good to see that followed up on in a way, and it's good for Buffa to team back up with Cable, although we kind of all knew it was going to end up that way. Although, the fact that we only have our 4 main riders left, and the fact that we are, at this point, getting into the final boss for this round of the DGP is interesting, because it makes me wonder how oftentimes has the world been reset? Has the world ended and been reset by a DGP? It's an interesting question, especially because we don't know anything about the Yamato as of yet. They're just the enemy factors in this case, and their actions seem to be random as fuck. Like literally, at the beginning of the series, Yamato were just wrecking shit, and then they stole some stuff from DGP, and then there was a zombie outbreak, and then they were just attacking couples. So the Yamato are completely random as fuck. And originally, I believed that they were just being controlled by the DGP as the real bad guys. But apparently they're not, because even they say, hey, a final boss Yamato just spawned in. So it makes me question what the Yamato even the fuck are. Like, are they aliens? What are these things, and where the fuck did they come from? Hopefully the series will answer that. Although, again, we're not even in the double digits yet, and we're already on the final round, which is probably going to be 2 episodes. This is episode 6, meaning by episode 8, which isn't even the Christmas episode. We'll be mid-November. Shit. But it will still be in October. Damn. But by then, we'll be on this by another round of the DGP, in which case that begs the question about what happens to our other riders. Obviously, Ace will continue to stick around because he's the main character. Kayla might, because he's the viewpoint character. Buffa is also sticking around because he's essentially the main rival character. But what about Neon? Assuming Neon doesn't get murked by the final boss Yamato, which hopefully she doesn't, will she stick around? Because while we've had leak scans of Kayla getting an upgrade, we haven't heard anything about Neon. And yeah, that is a bit of a surprise. So it begs the question about what Neon's fate is going to be, as well as what the future of the series is. I think this makes Geats probably like one of the most surprisingly storied writer series so far, as the series' story is basically a complete up-in-the-air mystery of what the overall story will end up shaping up to be. Like in a lot of series, you can tell early on. Like, for example, the writer's previous work with Ep.6, you can tell, okay, eventually they'll have to deal with the main threat of the Bugsters and find out where they came from. And by the end of Ep.6, you do. It makes me question, because honestly speaking, looking back on Ep.6, If, I haven't gotten to that point of the Dark Library where I talk about X8, but for me, X8's weakest episodes are its opener episodes. Like, everything past the opening set of episodes for X8 for me is immensely better as a series. So basically, I wonder if that's going to happen here, because I'm wondering if when I look back and see how this series started to what it came up to be, if I'll be looking at what I feel will be an almost completely different series. In which case, I might like those episodes better than the intro episodes. Let's say the intro episodes are bad. I do like them. I do like X8's intro episodes, but I feel the latter half of the series does immensely better in terms of being a fun series, of being what I look for in Kamen Rider, and being really deeper story. And I wonder if that's going to happen here. I know 01 got screwed over for production because of COVID. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. Can I say that word on YouTube? Can I? Gods of YouTube? Let's just call it the virus. Or the C. Let's just say the C. I already said the word, so this video might get flagged anyway, but the C. 01 got screwed over by the C. So it makes me question if that show is also going to have a very much different outcome. And I'll talk about that when I talk about 01. And so this makes me question, hey, how's this series going to turn out by its end game? Will I be looking back on these first 10 episodes of Geats and just be like, man, look at how far we've come, or man, this felt like a completely different series, or will I be nostalgic about it and just be like, man, the episode series was so much better back then? Like, apparently so many people go back to the earlier episodes of a series just be like, man, it was so good up until... Honestly, I kind of feel that way about Revise. It was so much better up until after Deadman. Basically, after they got rid of Osaleta. But I already talked about that in my Revise video. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so back to this episode. Overall, I liked it. It leaves me with a lot of questions, and Geats as a series continues to be surprising, and I like that about a series. So, with all that said, I will see all of you guys next time. Till then, everybody.